You're missing nothing out there. What you're truly missing, what you will never find anywhere else, is yourself. All your life you've been chasing after everything you were promised would make you happy, yet you still feel empty, searching for answers in what others say, and forgetting that true change begins within you. In this audiobook, I won't give you comforting words or cheap motivation. I'll speak to you plainly and unfiltered, no fluff, because the only path to your true potential is to confront yourself and stop waiting for someone else to do the work for you. Chapter 1. Your problem isn't the world. It's you. It's easy to look outside yourself for blame. We live in a world where everyone tends to pin responsibility for their failures on others, on circumstances, or on fate. But the truth is, that's the easy way out. Blaming the world or other people for everything that goes wrong is the quickest way to move even further away from what really matters: yourself. Do you know what the real problem is? You. Not what surrounds you, not what others do or don't do. You. What you constantly try to avoid, what you refuse to see, what you keep justifying. That's the root of it all. In how you look at yourself in the mirror, in the choices you make, in what you do or fail to do. Life doesn't become difficult because the world is against you. It becomes difficult when you forget who you are and what you carry inside. For years you've been told that things won't change unless you're lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time. You've been led to believe that life is about external factors: a good education, a great job, a supportive family. But no one told you what really matters. Everything lies within you. Your ability to change your life doesn't depend on others, on circumstances, or on outside factors. It depends on how you choose to live. It depends on how you face what happens to you, how you learn from your mistakes, how you get back up again, even when the ground seems like the only place you can be. There's something I want you to understand right now. Your life doesn't hinge on what you cannot control. It hinges on how you handle what you can control. What's in your hands are your thoughts, your decisions, your actions. The world gives you what you give it. If you focus on what you lack, on what you don't have, you'll find nothing but emptiness. But if you focus on what you can change, on what you hold in your hands right now, your reality will shift. We spend our lives complaining, finding excuses for why we can't move forward, looking for someone or something to blame. And that's exactly what keeps you stuck where you are. It's like standing on the bank of a river watching the current carry you away. But instead of swimming, you just stare at the water and blame the river. But the river isn't to blame. The river simply flows, utterly indifferent to what happens. The real problem is that you never take control. You don't get in the water to swim. You don't move your arms. You don't push with all your might. It's not the world. It's you. People who constantly complain, who always look for reasons not to act, are the same people who become mere spectators in their own lives. It's easy to be a spectator, sure. There's no responsibility. There's no confrontation. But being a spectator doesn't take you anywhere. There's no purpose, no progress. Nothing you build from fear, from doubt, from complaint amounts to anything. The people who achieve something, who move forward, are those who decide to jump into the game, who, even without all the answers, go anyway, not knowing whether the road will be easy or hard. What's happened is that you still don't know who you really are. You don't understand what you're capable of. Most of us are stuck on a version of ourselves that doesn't exist. You've convinced yourself that your past mistakes define you, that your failures will shape you forever. But that's not true. It's a story you've told yourself, and like any story, it can be rewritten. Mistakes are merely lessons misunderstood. Failures aren't signs that it's over. They're hidden opportunities waiting for you to recognize them. You are bigger than your circumstances. You are bigger than your mistakes, your fears, than what others think of you. And most importantly, you're bigger than the story you've told yourself. But to realize that, you must begin to look at yourself without fear. to see who you really are, to let go of all the excuses and justifications. The problem isn't the world. The problem is that you don't see what's inside you. You don't see all that you have to give. And as long as you believe the world is against you, as long as you look for someone to blame, you will never start taking control of your life. Of course, it's not easy. I'm not telling you everything will change overnight. No, that would be a lie. The path isn't easy. I won't sell it to you as a walk in the park. There will be days when you feel you can't go on. There will be moments when exhaustion, frustration, doubt threaten to consume you. But here lies the key. It's not about whether the path is easy. It's about deciding, in the moment when everything seems darkest, that you will not give up. It's precisely in that moment, when everything becomes heavy, that you have to look inward and remind yourself, the problem isn't the world. It's me. What I want you to understand is that everything you need is already within you. The greatest mistake we make is looking outside for what we already have inside. The strength you seek, the confidence you wish for, the motivation you lack, all of it is already in you. The only issue is you don't know how to access it. You don't know how to use it because you let distractions and the fear of confronting yourself guide you. But if you ever want to win, if you ever want to change your life, you must start by looking inward. You must make peace with the person in the mirror, because that person is the only one who has the power to change your life. So, what will you do now? Will you still wait for someone to help you? Will you still blame others for your problems? Or will you decide to take control? Choose. It won't be easy, but it will be yours. And once you start taking responsibility for what you do, for what you think, for what you decide, you'll see the world stops being an enemy. Stop waiting for the world to change, because change begins when you decide to take yourself into your own hands. And from there, everything else will fall into place. The real problem isn't the world, it's you. And the first step to winning is accepting that only you hold the key. Chapter 2. Stop being a victim, the choice that changes everything. Each one of us has a reason to feel like a victim, whether through external circumstances, people who've hurt us, or situations that haven't gone our way. There's always a reason to slip into victimhood, always a story you can tell to explain your misery. But what if I told you that this game you're in only ends when you decide to stop being a victim? Being a victim is comfortable, and that's the problem. To be a victim is to relinquish responsibility for your own life. It means casting yourself as a helpless observer waiting for the world to change without lifting a finger. To be a victim is to hand over control of your life and believe everything done to you simply happens, and there's nothing you can do to change it. But there's a truth we all know deep down, even if we don't want to hear it. Being a victim is a decision. No one will make you a victim unless you decide to take that role. You have the power to define yourself by your circumstances, or you have the power to empower yourself and take responsibility for your life. You can seize control again if you're willing to let go of the notion that you lack the power to change things. It's not about never being treated unfairly or never facing obstacles. Life isn't a fair contest. Yet it's a fact that the greatest strength you can have is refusing to be defined by external circumstances. You can choose how you respond to everything that happens to you. You can choose whether to learn from your pain or stay stuck in it. You can choose to take responsibility for your life instead of seeing yourself as a helpless victim of a world that constantly laughs at you. There come moments in life when you wake up and recognize you've been playing the same role over and over. You're the one who's disappointed, who withdraws, who hides in the corner because you believe you can't change anything. You wait for things to resolve themselves, for people to change, or for circumstances to finally swing in your favor. But the truth is, change doesn't come from outside. It only comes from you. If you don't stop seeing yourself as a victim, you'll never find the freedom to shape your own life. Being a victim is easy because it demands no responsibility. It's simpler to blame external circumstances and settle into that role. But that's the moment you must put your foot down. Because as long as you stay in victim mode, you miss the opportunity to grab hold of your life again. You cannot change what happens to you, but you can decide how you respond. You can decide how you feel, how you behave, and what you do with your time. That decision to stop being a victim is the first step into freedom. It's the choice that changes everything. It means breaking the chains of the past, of the old stories you keep telling yourself to feel sorry for yourself. It means no longer seeing pain as something that defines you, but as a teacher that shows you something. Imagine not complaining about what happens to you. Imagine not living in a state of frustration because you believe you lack control. Imagine no longer depending on others' opinions to determine your self-worth. What if you decided to take responsibility for your life and recognize that everything you experience is in some way influenced by you? You'd have the power to steer your life in the direction you desire. You'd stop being a passive spectator and start directing your own film. It's not an easy decision, but it's the only one that can truly free you. You'll be tempted again and again to slip back into victimhood. The world will keep offering you reasons to feel helpless. But you must remember, you are not helpless. You always have a choice. And the choice to break free from the victim role is the pivotal moment when you can change everything. It doesn't mean you won't face hard times again. It doesn't mean you won't be disappointed or hurt. But it means you stop letting your circumstances define you. It means you stop living in the past, seeing yourself as a victim of everything that's happened to you. It means you reclaim control and stop letting external factors influence you. This isn't empty comfort. It's a truth that can liberate you if you're willing to accept it. The choice to stop being a victim is the choice to reclaim your life. It's the choice to take responsibility for your own happiness. It's the choice to finally take the reins and walk your own path. You must stop focusing on what's been taken from you and start focusing on what you still have, what you can still do, what you can still change. That's the moment you shift from passive observer to active architect of your life. The moment you start writing your own story instead of letting circumstances write it for you. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what happens to you. It's about how you respond. And the choice to stop seeing yourself as a victim is the choice to grant yourself the greatest freedom there is. The freedom to live on your own terms. Chapter 3. The Addiction to Chaos. Why you keep ending up in the same place. It's a strange phenomenon that many of us experience. We emerge from a situation that drove us crazy, and then, after a short period of recovery, find ourselves in a similar spot again. The same stress, the same overwhelm, the same restlessness. It's as if we endlessly repeat the same patterns, as though we can never truly break free from this cycle. You may have wondered, why do I always land in the same chaos? Why do I keep repeating the same mistakes? The reason isn't coincidence, and it isn't just bad luck. It lies deep in how we perceive ourselves and our world. Many of us are addicted to chaos without even realizing it. Yes, you heard me right, addicted to chaos. And it's one of the greatest traps you can fall into, because you never admit you're unconsciously drawn back to that state of constant turmoil and confusion. How is it that we keep getting stuck in the same negative patterns? How do you find yourself caught in this vicious cycle of problems and drama, even though you know better? The answer is that our brain often prefers staying in turmoil because it finds a strange comfort in that chaos. The hustle, the overwhelm, the feeling of always teetering on the edge of collapse. There's a weird familiarity in it. And here's the catch. You remain in a state of tension because you cannot stand peace. You're used to always being in motion, always fighting, always living a new crisis. You've forgotten what it means to be truly still, undisturbed by external demands. Chaos gives you the sense that there's always something to do, always a new challenge. always a fresh goal. It keeps you busy, but never fulfilled. The problem is, it prevents you from pausing to truly reflect on what you're doing. Instead, you constantly react to external circumstances, never understanding what you're doing or why you're doing it. You're in a perpetual state of reaction rather than conscious action. You think you're in control because you're constantly responding to something, but in reality, you're never truly aligned with yourself. You've forgotten that real control doesn't lie in always reacting to outside events, but in consciously choosing what you let into your life. The truth is, you've become dependent on unrest. There's an uncomfortable calm you can't bear. You feel uneasy when you're not in motion, when nothing is happening. You fear silence because it forces you to confront what you really think, what you really feel, what you really want. When things get quiet, you're left alone with yourself. And that's often when the real unrest in your life begins. You dread facing yourself. So you return to chaos again and again. It's easier to throw yourself into the next problem than to confront the silence that offers you the chance to truly question yourself. It's easier to lose yourself in drama than to find the courage to look inside and see what's really going wrong. Chaos gives you instant gratification because it grabs your attention. It keeps you occupied. It lets you believe you have control. Yet in reality, it's the constant noise and back and forth that keeps you from making any real change in your life. There comes a point when you begin to see that this perpetual chaos isn't truly your life. It's not the state in which you can flourish. It's the state in which you sabotage yourself because you can't leave the comfort zone of chaos. You've settled for being trapped in this spiral of problems and distractions. But that moment of realization, that you're the one creating the unrest in your life, is the first step toward breaking out of this vicious cycle. The moment of decision, when you choose not to live in this chaos any longer, is the turning point. You have the power to step away from the noise, to question it, and to finally understand that you control what happens in your life. You can decide how you respond to challenges. You can decide how much room you give unrest and how much room you give silence. You have the power to no longer permit chaos, and instead create space for order, clarity, and peace. But this step isn't easy, because it means taking responsibility for the chaos in your life. It means acknowledging that you're the one generating it. It means letting go of familiar unrest to truly realize that in stillness lies a power that brings you far more than the endless struggle against external events. There's no quick escape from this pattern. It's not about instantly solving all your problems or suddenly controlling every aspect of your life. It's about making the decision to no longer let chaos dictate your life. It's about asking yourself what you really want in your life and realizing you won't find it in constant turmoil. True change doesn't come from continually losing yourself in the same problems. It comes when you start giving stillness a place, when you begin to trust that silence will bring you the clarity you so desperately need. The addiction to chaos will never disappear on its own unless you act consciously to break it. You must learn to recognize unrest and understand why you keep falling back into it. You must realize that the path to real change doesn't go through battling external circumstances, but through the ability to find inner peace and clarity. You must choose to release chaos and make room for the progress you really want to make in your life. The true step toward change is the moment you stop fearing chaos and see it for what it is, a distraction that keeps you from living the life you truly want. Once you have that realization, you'll understand that true peace isn't in the fight, it's in letting go. Chapter 4. Real self-knowledge. Not the spiritual kind, but the uncomfortable kind. Self-knowledge is often hailed as the key to everything. The idea of understanding and recognizing yourself is one of the most quoted mantras of the modern world. But what most people don't grasp is that true self-understanding doesn't come in the gentle, sacred moments of meditation or the deep, spiritual insights. Real self-knowledge arises not from comfort or well-being, but from the painful, uncomfortable places within you. from the parts you'd rather avoid, the parts buried deep because they discomfort you, because they show you who you really are, unfiltered and without excuses. We talk a lot about the need to love and accept ourselves, but what if what you discover about yourself isn't always what you want to hear? What if you look into your own eyes and see the shadows you've so often ignored? What if you recognize that in certain moments, you are not the person you'd like to be and haven't been for a long time? That's when the real work starts, and it's anything but pleasant. Real self-knowledge demands that you not only love the parts of yourself that make you proud, but also the parts that disgust you. It's not just about recognizing your strengths, but also accepting your weaknesses, your resentment, your anger, your appetite for chaos and distraction. It means confronting the parts of you that you'd rather not see, the parts that remind you of your own mistakes and flaws. It's easy to view yourself as someone who always thinks positively, always looks forward, always believes in yourself. But what if you peer inside and see all the moments when you lied to yourself? The moments you didn't speak the truth, when you didn't face responsibility, when you opted for easy excuses instead of action. Real self-knowledge requires that you look at those moments without embellishment and accept yourself even if what you see makes you ashamed. The journey to real self-knowledge is uncomfortable because it forces you to see yourself with a brutality you normally avoid. We spend our lives covering up our mistakes and shadows, distracting ourselves, fleeing into hope that they'll vanish someday. But they don't vanish. They stay hidden within, erupting when least expected. And it's precisely those parts of us that stand in our way, hold us back, and keep pulling us into the same mistakes. Here's the uncomfortable truth about self-knowledge. It's far easier to lie to yourself, to protect yourself, and to see things the way you want to see them. But that doesn't help you. It doesn't help you change, evolve, or live the life you're meant to live. And that's the crux. If you're not willing to see yourself unfiltered, without masks, you'll never truly grow. You'll keep returning to the same spot, making the same mistakes, living the same emptiness. Self-knowledge is uncomfortable because it compels you to take responsibility. It's not just about understanding yourself, but also accepting the consequences of your actions. It's about acknowledging that everything in your life is in some way connected to you. You influence what happens, to the people you meet, the decisions you make, the paths you take. When you truly know yourself, you also recognize that you're responsible for it all. You can no longer blame the world, other people, or fate. You are the architect of your own reality. The unpleasant part is that it confronts you. We're accustomed to living in a world where responsibility for our lives is often taken from us, by society, by those around us, by our circumstances. But true self-knowledge doesn't stop at the surface. It challenges us to dig deeper, to uncover our own lies, to question ourselves. And that's not always a pleasant process. It's the moment you realize you sabotage yourself, downplay your dreams, retreat out of fear of change. Perhaps the hardest part of true self-knowledge is taking responsibility for your fears. Your fears aren't just things that happen to you. They are things you create yourself. You have the choice to let them control you, or to face them head-on and seize control. Real self-knowledge means looking your fears, doubts, and insecurities in the eye and acknowledging them. They're part of you, but they don't define you. It means accepting that you make mistakes, that you sometimes falter, that you fall, but that you also have the strength to rise again. This process of confronting yourself is painful, but necessary. It's the only way to move forward, to grow, and to become the best version of yourself. You must learn to see yourself without the distorted shield of the perfect facade you've built over the years. You must accept yourself as you are, in all your strengths and weaknesses, because only by embracing your whole, imperfect self will you be able to truly change what you want to change. Real self-knowledge isn't the fleeting realization that you're a great person. It's the awareness of the parts of you you fear most, the parts you'd rather ignore. And it's the ability to love and accept yourself anyway, with all your flaws, insecurities, and imperfections. Because only through that acceptance will you find the freedom to truly grow, to heal, and to become the person you always wanted to be. And that journey doesn't begin in the quiet of meditation. It begins in the discomfort, in confronting what you really are, without illusions or excuses. Self-knowledge is uncomfortable, but that's where its true power lies. Chapter 5. Dignity. Taking responsibility for yourself, even if it costs you everything. There are moments in life when you're forced to choose. A choice that will either lead you to the best version of yourself or keep you on a path you always find convenient, but ultimately unfulfilling. You have the option to preserve your dignity or to sacrifice it for temporary relief, because nothing is more important than your own dignity. It's the unbreakable core of who you truly are, and it's what enables you to endure life's toughest phases without losing your inner compass. Choosing your dignity isn't always easy. It demands something many people aren't willing to give: responsibility. Responsibility for your life, your actions, your decisions. Responsibility that you won't trade your principles and values for the comfort of a moment. Responsibility that, even if everything turns against you, you won't slip into despair, but will stand tall and respect yourself. And here's the catch. True dignity doesn't always mean doing what's easy. It doesn't mean taking the path of least resistance or avoiding challenges. Dignity demands you persevere, even when the cost seems high. It demands you choose what's right, even if it could cost you everything. And sometimes, it will cost you everything. It may cost you friends. It may cost you time. It may cost you strength. It will bring you to the point where you wonder if the price is truly worth it. But the real price isn't the external losses. It's the loss of your inner peace if you fail to take responsibility. Many people are willing to fight for a better future, but only as long as it's convenient. They'll take responsibility as long as they're sure they won't lose too much. But when the cost rises, when you can no longer be sure you'll endure the pain, when you face the point where you must question everything you've ever known, then things look very different. That's when you must decide whether to preserve your dignity or choose the easy way that leads you right back into emptiness. It's not only about taking responsibility for your actions, but also for what you tolerate, for the things you allow in your life, because it's easier to endure them than to confront them. We often see people stay in bad relationships, stay in jobs that break them, or engage in behaviors that erode them from within, just because it feels less painful to tolerate the situation than to face it. But what you don't see in these moments is that every day you give up a piece of yourself, and the price you pay is steep, far steeper than the supposed quick fix of avoidance. Dignity is a constant litmus test. It asks what you're willing to endure, how deep you dive into your own principles and convictions, and how far you're willing to go to remain true to yourself. It won't let you escape if you try to deceive or hide from yourself. You cannot hide behind a mask if you want to live with dignity. You must be prepared to face your own fears, insecurities, flaws, and all those things you normally avoid. And that's the true test of dignity. Not in the easy moments, but in the hard ones, when everything is on the line. This doesn't mean you must live in constant conflict with the world, or that you must fight the battle of your life every moment. It means you take responsibility for who you are at your core, and you refuse to let external circumstances, others' expectations, or the relentless demands of the world pull you away from what truly matters to you. Your dignity doesn't demand perfection. It demands that you face life with unwavering responsibility and integrity, without compromises that harm you at your core. There will be moments when you find that the path you must follow leaves you isolated. People might not understand you. You might lose the support you expected. And in those moments, you'll face a choice. Either fall into the trap of convenience or stay loyal to your principles, and if you choose the latter, you'll find something changes. you'll feel stronger. Your inner clarity will grow, and you'll realize that the weight you've been carrying isn't just a burden. It's the foundation on which you build your true strength. The true challenge is holding on to your dignity even when it gets tough. When you find yourself in a situation where you must believe in yourself without anyone else doing so. When you must make your own decisions regardless of what others think. And above all, when you summon the courage to stand by yourself even when the path is rocky and you're the only one who sees it. Dignity means looking into the darkest corners of yourself and accepting them without fear. You aren't ruled by your fears, but you face them. You aren't stopped by the fear of rejection or pain, but you keep going because you know the responsibility for your life and choices rests with you. You'll discover you're the only person who truly holds control over your life. And in the end, that's the real value of dignity. It gives you the freedom to shape your life, independent of the external voices that continuously try to steer you off your true path. Dignity is the vow to rise again and again, even when the price is high. It's the commitment to take responsibility even when no one's watching, when it would be easier to yield and take the path of least resistance. It's the courage to remain true to yourself, even if it costs you everything. But that is precisely what makes you strong in moments of greatest doubt and helps you become the person you were always meant to be. And one day you'll look back and know it was all worth it, not because of the outcome, but because of the person you became along the way. Chapter 6. Your energy is your currency. Where do you spend it? There are things in life you can never get back. Time for which you'll never receive a refund. Opportunities that appear before you only to vanish again if you don't seize them fast enough. But among all the resources you possess, there is one more precious than any other: your energy. Energy is the currency with which you pay for your life. It's the capital you invest in every decision. And like any currency, it has value, and you must choose how to spend it. Every choice you make costs energy. Every word you speak, every action you take, demands a portion of this precious resource. And yet we so often squander our energy on the wrong things, investing it in pursuits that do not advance us, that drain us instead of nourish us. Ask yourself, where are you spending your energy? Is it the wellspring of your greatest creations and deepest relationships, or does it vanish in the endless loops of everyday life, in needless dramas, in struggles that leave you empty, without ever yielding any gain? Your energy is too valuable to waste on things that hold no meaning. It's easy to fritter away your energy without noticing. In today's world, where distractions and dramas lurk around every corner, your energy is under constant assault. People tugging on your time and attention, tasks that overwhelm you, thoughts that pull you backward into the past or forward into a future that leaves you ungrounded. All of this sucks your energy away. And what remains? A hollow, exhausted person who wonders why he can't get ahead, why each day leaves behind the same feeling of emptiness. The reality is that you have a choice about where to direct your energy. You control what you nurture in your life and what you let go. Yet deciding isn't always simple. It isn't easy to see how often you pour your energy into something that brings you no fulfillment. Perhaps you've grown accustomed to losing yourself in others' worries and fears, to entangling yourself in the conflicts around you, as though your life were an endless dance between the world's expectations and demands. But what you forget is that you hold the reins of these choices. Managing your energy doesn't mean distancing yourself from every demand. It means recognizing that not everything that demands deserves to be nurtured. Your energy isn't there for every drama, for every situation that grabs your attention. It belongs to you, and you decide where it goes. So many things absorb our energy without our realizing it. Relationships that go nowhere. People who keep pulling us into the same emotional whirlpool without ever letting us learn or grow. Maybe it's your own negative thoughts dragging you back into the past or trapping you in fears about the future. Those constant worries about things beyond your control drain you relentlessly and keep you from focusing on what truly matters. What's worse is that we don't always recognize these drains until it's too late. We cling to these cycles because avoiding the pain of change seems easier. But it costs us more than time. It costs our vital life force. Your real power lies not in accommodating every drama, but in choosing deliberately where to invest your energy. Life is too short to squander your energy on the wrong things. It takes courage to say no, consciously. No to people who drag you into their problems for no benefit to you. No to situations that leave you only exhausted. No to thoughts and fears that insist you must worry as if it would make any difference. And yes, it also means saying yes to what truly counts. Yes to moments of growth and self-challenge. Yes to relationships that build you up and give you energy instead of draining it. The truth is, you can spend your energy only on what really matters to you. You cannot lose yourself in everything at once and expect to emerge as the best version of yourself. That's like trying to funnel all your energy into a single spark that will never catch. You'll burn out and end up empty. But when you channel your energy intentionally and mindfully, you ignite a fire that will burn brighter than you ever imagined. But how do you know what's truly worth your energy? How can you tell where you should invest? It starts by asking yourself, what matters most? What brings you fulfillment? Which people and activities breathe life into you, give you strength, inspire you? Once you identify these, you'll find your energy flows much more efficiently. You will see yourself wasting less time and effort on unnecessary drama and distractions. It means knowing yourself, understanding what nourishes you, what propels you forward, and what keeps you stuck in exhaustion and frustration. And it means having the courage to let go, letting go of what doesn't fulfill you, even if it hurts. Letting go of people who only weigh you down instead of supporting you. Letting go of thoughts and fears that hold you back from reaching your full potential. When you begin to manage your energy consciously, you will feel freer and more alive. You will find yourself doing what truly matters to you, and, as a result, having more energy to keep moving forward. Your energy is your most precious asset, and you get to decide how to spend it. So ask yourself again, where are you spending your energy? And what will you choose going forward? Chapter 7. Silence and Focus. What no one wants to do. In a world that never seems to stop, silence has become one of our greatest luxuries. Everything around us is loud and demanding, flooding us with information, obligations, and distractions. This constant overload leads us to believe that life only matters when we're in perpetual motion, when we plunge ourselves into the whirlpool of the outside world and accept society's cacophony. Yet here lies the paradox. In this noisy world, it is silence that truly propels us forward. Silence isn't merely the absence of sound. It's the space in which you find yourself, where you gain the clarity you can never get amidst the chaos. True focus doesn't arise when you try to hear every voice at once, but when you dare to confront your own inner monologue, too often stifled by the world's din. Most people flee from this space. They fear that in the silence they'll have to meet themselves. They know that if they truly come to rest, they can no longer avoid the flood of distractions that keeps them from self-confrontation. The problem is that the focus born of silence enables real change. To focus means to concentrate on the essential, to keep your path clearly in view, to know what to do without being led astray by external noise. But focus is hard to achieve when you're constantly distracted, whether by people who steal your time and energy, or by your own thoughts pulling you away from what matters most. Most people have no idea what it means to truly focus. They believe they must just work faster, get more done, do more. But they overlook that the secret isn't quantity, but depth. The truth is, focus demands discipline and the willingness to detach from the world. If you want to succeed, no matter in what field, you must learn to ignore the noise and concentrate on what truly matters. And that means doing what others avoid. You must be able to shed the world's pressures and expectations and ask yourself what you really need to move forward. There is a kind of discipline required to create this silence. It isn't the discipline that tells you to work harder or do more. It's the discipline that tells you to do less, to think less, to resist letting the outside world thrust you into ceaseless activity. You must cultivate the ability to operate, think, and feel in a state of calm. This ability will not only make you more productive, but also wiser, more focused, and more successful. It's easier said than done. The world clamors for your attention, engagement, and energy. But genuine focus means recognizing that your energy is finite and cannot be squandered on every fleeting distraction. You must learn not only to guard against external diversions, but also to resist internal temptations that constantly pull you away from the essential. It's about setting priorities, even when it's hard. And it's about having the courage to let things go, not only in your external life but also within, where you often treat your thoughts and feelings with the same scattered approach. The real test arrives when you plunge into silence and make focus your priority. Because focus isn't merely knowing what you must do, it's the power to do it without being overwhelmed by the world's demands. And for that, you must be ready to face yourself. You will be challenged to fight the internal resistance that drags you into a whirl of thoughts, fears, and doubts. You'll discover that it's often not only external distractions that hold you back, it's the inner struggle that prevents you from seeing clearly and staying focused. The path to mastery of focus isn't easy. It requires the art of practicing silence. You must learn to cherish moments of calm, not view them as wasted time. You must understand that in silence, there is not just an absence of noise, but a space for creativity, reflection, and genuine insight. That means releasing yourself from the constant stream of thoughts that entice you to head in the same direction repeatedly, dragging you into the same mental whirlpool. You must learn to embrace that moment of silence and carve out clarity within it. True focus emerges from this quiet, this silence. It's the moment you begin to hear yourself, unoverwhelmed by others' voices, the world's demands, or your own mind's distractions. In that moment, you grasp that true success isn't measured by how many things you do, but by the quality of thoughts and actions that arise from a state of clear focus. The greatest obstacle you must overcome is the notion that you must always be busy to be productive. It's an illusion that keeps you in perpetual motion without ever making real progress. It's the moments of silence and focus that let you go deeper, see more clearly, and act with a precision you could never reach in the noise. True progress doesn't come from loud action, but from calm, focused action. It's a decision you must make, the decision to ignore the noise and work in silence. You must learn to break through the world's clamor and make focus part of your daily practice. You must liberate yourself from the flood of external demands and concentrate on what truly counts. And you will discover that in this silence lies the greatest power you can find within yourself. Chapter 8. Discipline. It's not motivation, it's self-respect. Motivation is a beautiful but fleeting feeling. It's that rising flame that sometimes drives you to greatness, that pushes you through a project's initial steps, that makes you feel you could conquer the world. But here's the problem. Motivation cannot be the bedrock of lasting success. It's unreliable, capricious, and often deserts you when you need it most. What you really need is something stronger, more consistent, and less dependent on your mood. Discipline. Discipline is not the same as motivation. Whereas motivation propels you forward, discipline is what keeps you on course long after the initial spark has faded. Discipline is the ability to carry on even when you don't feel like it, when it gets hard, when circumstances work against you, when the easiest path is to give up. Discipline is the foundation upon which everything you wish to achieve must be built. And at its core, discipline isn't about forcing yourself, it's about acting with self-respect. You must promise yourself not to be ruled by whims. You must begin to trust and respect yourself, and remain consistent in your behavior regardless of shifting circumstances or fleeting emotions. It's about taking your own commitments seriously, educating yourself, honoring your principles, and knowing that true strength lies not in being driven by desires and moods, but in doing what must be done to move closer to your goals, even if it means swimming upstream. The real test of discipline comes in moments when motivation is gone. Most people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect spark of inspiration before they act. They believe they must feel motivated to do something. But that's when you're cheating yourself. Motivation can get you started, but it won't help you through the rut. It won't help you persist when you're tired, when the path is steep, or when you begin to wonder whether it's even worth it. Discipline is what keeps you going when the flame of motivation has long since burned out. And discipline is not something you simply have or lack. Discipline is a choice. It's a choice you make every day. Every single day you push forward, whether you feel like it or not. You take responsibility for your actions and accept that achieving your goals often consists of small, unseen steps, tasks that no one may notice but that each day bring you closer to the person you aim to become. It's not about giant leaps, but about steady, relentless progress in the right direction. What truly matters is not how motivated you feel, but how much respect you have for yourself to keep going when there's no instant reward. Discipline demands you take yourself seriously. It means keeping your word, meeting your own expectations, not just showing up when it's comfortable. Discipline is the capacity to do the work in the hard moments, when there's no applause and no one is watching. It's the engine that powers you through the daily grind, even when you haven't yet seen the payoff. What sets discipline apart from motivation is its independence from external conditions. When you rely on motivation, you hand control of your life over to external factors. You let the weather, your mood, the people around you, or even world events dictate how you feel and how you act. Discipline, by contrast, looks inward. It asks only for your inner state and your respect for your own commitments. Discipline also means saying no to distractions that steal your focus. It means resisting the siren calls of instant gratification and instead working toward long-term rewards. It means not lingering in your comfort zone but deliberately facing challenges that make you stronger. In a culture obsessed with quick fixes, discipline is the lighthouse reminding you that real results don't appear overnight, but through consistent action and perseverance. What ultimately differentiates discipline from mere dutiful obligation is that discipline is woven with self-esteem. When you are disciplined, you don't do it just to meet the world's demands. You do it because you have taken responsibility for your life and committed yourself to your goals. Discipline is not what you do because you have to. It's what you do because you value staying true to yourself and accepting the consequences of your choices. And although it may seem easier to retreat in moments of apathy and fatigue, it's precisely when you choose to rise against your inner laziness that you develop true strength. You don't grow by doing only what is easy. You grow by remaining disciplined and continuing the journey, even when you see no immediate benefit, and the finish line still lies far ahead. Discipline is the key factor that turns mere dreams into real achievements. It's the difference between the one who keeps restarting and the one who actually endures. It's the ability to do what you set out to do, not only when you're motivated, but long after the spark has faded. It may seem tempting to rely on a steady stream of motivation, but true success comes when you cultivate discipline that not only leads you to your goals, but makes you a person proud to have remained faithful to your own standards and values. And ultimately, it is this self-respect that makes the greatest difference, knowing that every day you give your best, even when no one is watching. Chapter 9. Eliminate to evolve. There is a concept we often overlook or misunderstand: eliminating in order to grow. We're accustomed to defining growth by accumulation, doing more, having more, achieving more. Yet true progress does not spring from addition, but from the ability to let go of what burdens us. We don't need to add more. We need to remove. Real transformation comes not from gaining more, but from recognizing what holds us back and having the courage to release it. It's hard to imagine that less is often more. In a world that constantly demands more, where success is tied to comparison, to collecting things and experiences, it seems almost contradictory to believe we can grow only by parting with something. Yet reality says otherwise. You can move forward only when you understand that you must remove certain things from your life to make room for the new. Removing what no longer serves us is the first step toward genuine evolution. It's about identifying all the superfluous, unnecessary elements in your life, whether negative thoughts, redundant relationships, entrenched behaviors, or material possessions that bring no real value. We tend to live in a culture that urges us to accumulate and cling, but life isn't a scrapbook. It's a process of flowing, of letting go, and of growing. To evolve, we must free ourselves from whatever prevents us from realizing our true potential. This doesn't mean you must let go of everything at once. It's a process that requires time and courage. But the first step is admitting that you have things in your life that hold you back. Maybe they're people who drain your energy and keep you stuck in negative patterns. Maybe they're old habits that cycle you through the same failures. Maybe they're possessions you accumulate to feel better or safer, yet in truth only weigh you down. Ask yourself, what is holding me back? What brings me nothing but energy loss? One of life's greatest challenges is parting with what once served us but no longer does. We cling to habits because they're familiar, because they give us a sense of security, even when they actually paralyze us. It takes courage to let these things go because they've become part of us. But the truth is that they keep us in stagnation. They stop us from evolving, from truly growing and discovering ourselves and our abilities. Evolution doesn't happen if you remain trapped in the past. It happens when you're willing to shed old patterns that define you and create space for something new. That doesn't mean giving up your identity. It means relinquishing the parts of yourself that no longer serve, that prevent you from becoming who you could be. Growth demands space, and space arises only when you remove the unnecessary. The thing is, you won't always see the results of letting go immediately. The process of clearing out people and things from your life can feel painful and uncertain in the short term. You may wonder whether you've lost something, whether you've made a mistake. But here lies the key. You've lost nothing. You've created space. You've made room for the things that truly benefit you, that in the long run will help you grow. And then, sooner or later, you'll notice that what you released no longer fits into the clarity you've established. You'll discover that without these old burdens, you're freer and stronger. You'll see that the space you made is now filled with new positive experiences, people, and thoughts. You'll know the path you took was the right one, not because it was easy, but because you had the courage to let go of the old and welcome the new. To evolve does not mean having all the answers or a perfectly clear road. It means being able to recognize what holds you back and having the willingness to eliminate it. It means learning to set priorities and focusing only on what serves you. As you develop this ability, you will grow, change, and learn without being constantly weighed down by unnecessary baggage. Remember, growth is not the result of more, but of less. It is the act of letting go that allows true progress. You must learn to eliminate in order to evolve. And the more you let go, the more you will find you actually gain what really matters. Clarity, peace, genuine fulfillment, and the feeling that you are on the right path. So ask yourself, what can you let go of today? Which old habits, thoughts, or relationships are holding you back? It may hurt. It may feel uncomfortable. But true progress awaits you when you're ready to let go and create space to grow. Chapter 10. Loneliness doesn't kill you. It builds you. There are moments in life when you feel lost, when the world's noise falls silent and you're alone. No distractions, no constant exchange with others. You begin to feel loneliness surrounding you, pressing in, and you wonder if you'll break under its weight. Perhaps you've always told yourself you never want to be alone, that loneliness is something to avoid at all costs. You've seen it as an enemy, something that could weaken you, something that will ultimately destroy you. But what if the truth is the exact opposite? What if loneliness isn't the enemy you think it is, but the teacher you need? There is a deep, often overlooked wisdom in loneliness. It is the space where you can truly find yourself, in the company of others, in constant interaction and communication. You often lose sight of who you really are. You get lost in the expectations and needs of those around you. Loneliness, however, forces you to listen to yourself, to give voice to your own thoughts and feelings. It offers the chance to remove the mask you may have worn too long and discover what you truly need, what you truly want, and who you truly are, without constantly measuring yourself against others. But the process of self-discovery in loneliness isn't always pleasant. It can be painful to confront your own insecurities, fears, and weaknesses. It's far easier to lose yourself in the company of others, to let life's distractions carry you along, than to pause and face the deeper truths about yourself. Yet it is precisely in loneliness that true growth begins. You cannot genuinely develop if you always hide from what hurts you or what you fear. You must learn to stand in the silence and embrace yourself in all your imperfections. Loneliness forces you to take responsibility for your own life. You no longer depend on others for validation. There are no external voices telling you who you should be. There is only you. You are the creator of your own reality, and only you can decide how to respond to the challenges you face. If you have the courage to face loneliness, you will realize it doesn't destroy you. It builds you by giving you the opportunity to reflect and discover the strength within yourself. The paradox of loneliness is that it connects you more deeply to others. We often withdraw from the world when we feel alone, but it is precisely in loneliness that we can recognize the meaning and value of the connections we do have. You will find that once you have found yourself in solitude, you no longer need to be near people out of dependency. You will cultivate relationships not from necessity, but from genuine choice and authentic exchange. Loneliness is the space in which you can free yourself from the multitude of voices telling you what to do, what to feel, how to live. It is where you can hear yourself with clarity. It is the realm in which you can relinquish all the things that bind you, that prevent you from unfolding your true potential. It is the moment when you reconcile with yourself and accept what you have so far rejected. There will be times when you ask why you are alone now, why you find yourself in this stillness. You may wonder if you're enough, if you've done something wrong. But the truth is, you have not done anything wrong. You have simply reached a point where you must engage with yourself. And that is the first step to real progress. You cannot live in a world of distractions and people without ever knowing what you want, what you need, what truly fulfills you. Perhaps you believe you cannot be whole without others, without company. But the truth is, you can connect with others only when you are first connected to yourself. Loneliness helps you find that self-connection. It helps you recognize and respect yourself so that you can build relationships from an authentic place, relationships that are truly meaningful. There is a kind of strength you can only find in loneliness, a strength that doesn't make you dependent on others, nor seeks external validation, but that comes from within, from the trust that you are enough just as you are. This strength isn't loud or showy, but it is deep and enduring. It will carry you through the toughest times because it rests not on external circumstances, but on your own inner peace. It is important to understand that loneliness is not an end, but a beginning. It is the moment you discover yourself, take responsibility for your life, and start walking your own path. In the silence, you will realize you are never truly alone. You are simply with yourself, and that is more than enough. When you learn to accept loneliness and grow within it, you will find that you not only make peace with yourself, but also with the world around you. You will be able to see more clearly in your relationships and in your life, because in loneliness, you have found the power and clarity you have always sought. You will discover that you no longer rely on others' approval, but on your own inner truth. Loneliness is not what you fear. It is the space in which you can grow, the space in which you reinvent and redefine yourself. And in that space, you will discover that loneliness does not destroy you, but makes you stronger, wiser, and more complete. Chapter 11. Your story doesn't define you, your decisions do. There's a story each of us carries, a narrative about what's happened to us, what we've endured, what's molded us. And sometimes we lose ourselves completely in that story. It becomes our shield, our backbone, even our prison. We define ourselves by what was, by what befell us, as if that past were the only yardstick for our future. Yet the truth is different. The past plays a part in our story, but it does not define who we are or who we can still become. It's not circumstances that shape us, but the decisions we make every day. All too often we cling to what we've been through, the mistakes we've made, or the wrongs done to us. We let these experiences shove us into roles that no longer serve us. We believe our past dictates our destiny, that it defines us forever. And while it's true that experiences leave their mark, the real power isn't in what happened. It's in what we do with it. You are not the product of your past. You are the product of your decisions. It can be painful, but liberating to realize you don't have to live in the past anymore. The story you tell yourself again and again doesn't have to be the one that follows you. Yes, there are things that happened to you, things that hurt you, things that wounded you, but you don't have to dwell in those experiences. What matters are the decisions you make today. Too many people spend their lives clinging to a former identity. They tell themselves the same story over and over. I'm the one who failed, the one who got hurt, the one who was betrayed. They hold fast to their past and believe they can't do more than what once happened to them. They think their identity is locked in their history, but every moment is a new decision. You are never fixed. What you think, feel, and do right now shapes your life far more than anything you've ever experienced. The power of choice is immense. There are days when you may feel stuck, trapped by past failures and missteps. But the truth is that every decision you make today can point you in a new direction. It's not the errors of your past that define you. It's the choices you make now to overcome them, to grow, to move forward. Far too many of us let fear of the future or the weight of the past paralyze us. But what if you began to see yourself as the architect of your life? You can decide at any moment who you want to be and which path you wish to take. It's your choice, what you make of your life. You don't have to stay in the narrative someone else invented for you, or the one you keep replaying. You have the freedom to reinvent yourself, to redefine yourself right now. That freedom to choose comes with responsibility. The responsibility you take for what you do today. It takes courage to own your choices. No one else has the power to decide for you. You alone are accountable for how you respond to the world, how you turn challenges into opportunities, and how you evolve. It's easy to see yourself as a victim of circumstance, of the past. But true strength comes when you seize control of what you can do, of what you can change today. No one can define you for good unless you let them. The only person truly standing in your way is you. You are the one who must decide you're enough, that you're capable of changing your life. You're the one who must decide you won't remain trapped in the past, that you'll look ahead and focus on what you can achieve today. You can rewrite your story. You can make the choices that take you from who you were yesterday to who you want to be today. Some days it's hard to let go of the past, when mistakes, hurts, and disappointments weigh you down. But in those moments, you must remind yourself you are more than your story. You are not your failures, not your weaknesses, not the bad choices you made. You are the one who decides how you respond to it all. You are the one who decides what your next step is. True strength doesn't come from living in the past or trying to change it. It comes from taking responsibility for your future, making the choices that lead you where you want to go. It is your decisions that define you. Pause for a moment. What choice can you make today to free yourself from the burden of the past? What decision can you take to become the person you truly want to be? The past is gone. It taught you lessons. It shaped you. But it holds no power over you unless you give it that power. You decide what you do with your story. You can carry it as ballast or use it as a springboard to move forward. Don't let anyone or anything tell you you must cling to your past forever. The only truth that matters is that today you can decide how you continue. Your choices are what shape you. It's the small daily decisions that bring you closer to the person you really want to be. And those choices make your story a living, ever-evolving part of you, one you create yourself. Chapter 12. Comparing yourself to others means losing yourself. We live in a world that constantly urges us to measure ourselves against others. Social media shows us day in and day out the perfect lives of others, where everything glitters, everything seems successful, effortless. It's hard to escape because comparisons aren't just everywhere, they're always there. It's almost as if our worth depends on the number of likes or the approval of others. We see other people's successes and ask, why am I not there yet? What do I lack that they've achieved it? But what if I told you the real cost of comparing yourself is far higher than you think? That the more you compare, the further you drift from yourself? That comparison is a silent thief of your life. Each of us has a unique journey. No one has faced exactly the same experiences, overcome exactly the same challenges, or pursued exactly the same goals. Yet so often we fall into the trap of comparison. We measure our progress against others' achievements. We look at their path and make their results our benchmark. But the moment you compare yourself to someone else, you surrender a piece of yourself. You tell yourself you're not enough, not fast enough, not doing the right thing. You start believing you must have failed somewhere because you're not where someone else is right now. The problem is that every success you admire in others springs from a completely different story. You see the outcome they've reached, but you don't see the battles, the setbacks, the inner conflicts they endured to get there. You don't see the chapters hidden behind the perfect snapshots and highlight reels. Every person has their own definition of success and their own way of living. Yet the moment you start measuring yourself by someone else's yardstick, you lose sight of your own path, of what you really want. You cease being the architect of your life and become a shadow of someone else's expectations. In truth, comparison is an act of self-denial. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you give yourself permission to believe you're not enough. You hand over your inner power and your worth to external standards. But real worth doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. Your journey, your experiences, your progress are unique and incomparable. Your value isn't tied to others' wins or losses. Your value depends on how you see yourself, how you honor your own path, and how you grow without getting distracted by the world around you. The truth is, you're never truly too late, never too little, if you'd only stop comparing yourself to others. You're exactly where you need to be. Your life isn't a race against anyone else's. The only person you should measure against is yourself, who you were yesterday and who you want to be tomorrow. The only standard you should set is the progress you make with yourself. Here's a liberating truth. Don't compare. Don't measure your journey by someone else's. Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday, a year ago, or even a few weeks ago. Every small step you take, every inch of progress you make, is a victory, and that victory is yours. born of your own work, your own determination, your own struggle. Learning not to compare means fully accepting yourself. It means freeing yourself from external expectations and finding the inner peace that allows you to walk your own road without copying anyone. It means having the courage to follow your own path, knowing you're enough just as you are. Real progress doesn't come from mimicking others' success. It comes from unfolding your own potential. True progress comes from owning that you create your own definition of success and advance at your own pace. The freedom from comparison is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. The moment you stop measuring your journey to someone else's, you begin to trust yourself, your process, and your pace. You give yourself permission to make mistakes, knowing they're part of your growth. You let yourself change without fear of others' judgments, and you find the inner calm you need to truly grow. Every person you see who's made it, fought, and failed on their own path. You see only the result, not the pain, the sacrifices, and the countless hours of work behind it. And you, in your own process, will face similar highs and lows, but they are yours alone. They define your success, not someone else's. When you understand this, you'll start to treasure your journey. You'll see that real value doesn't lie in reaching where someone else is or achieving what they have, but in becoming who you truly are. You'll find the freedom to walk your own way, undistracted by others' victories or defeats. You'll realize that on your own path, you can discover the freedom and peace you seek, and that path was made for you alone. Don't compare. Let go and find your own truth. Chapter 13. What do you do when no one believes in you? There are moments in life when you believe deeply in something, a dream, a vision, a goal so clear you can almost touch it. You see the potential, you feel the path, you know you can do it. Then something happens that scares many people and often causes them to abandon their pursuit. No one else believes in you. Your family, your friends, maybe even you in moments of doubt. They don't see what you see. They don't see the picture forming in your mind. They don't understand why you risk so much, why you chase something so uncertain. And in those moments, a question arises. What do you do when no one believes in you? What do you do when the people you care about most tell you it won't work, that you should give up because it's too risky, too unrealistic, or simply too big? How do you react when you're the only one who believes in yourself and the rest of the world greets you with skepticism, doubt, or even ridicule? It's one of the most painful experiences you can face, and also one of the greatest tests of your life. Because in that moment, you must ask yourself how deep your self-belief truly runs. Are you prepared to walk your path even if no one joins you? Others' doubt can weigh heavily. It's hard to swim against the current when the whole world flows the other way. But what you realize in those moments is that the real test isn't whether others believe in you. The real test is your ability to believe in yourself when the outside noise tells you you'll fail. You are the one walking the path. You are the one deciding to keep going even when everything stacks against you. It's not easy to believe in yourself with no external validation. It's not easy to press on when no one's telling you you can do it. But true strength doesn't show when everyone cheers you on. True strength shows when you stand alone with your vision, your dream, and your faith in yourself. You must learn to find internal confirmation rather than seek external approval. You must learn to recognize your own worth and potential without waiting for someone else to confirm it. Of course, there will be times you feel uncertain, when self-doubt gnaws at you, when the path looks unclear and your dream seems distant. In those moments, the real difference is whether you give up or not. If you don't give up, if you rise above the doubts others place on you, you grow. You don't only grow your project, you grow as a person. You build the foundation on which everything else will stand. There is a deep truth many fail to see. The greatest enemy on your journey isn't the lack of outside support. The greatest enemy is you when you start doubting yourself. You can't rely on others to believe in you in order to move forward. You must find your own belief, and that belief is the strongest fuel you can have. If you believe in yourself, if you know your worth, you won't care who stands in your way. That doesn't make you arrogant or blind to reality. It means you understand that your success doesn't depend on others' validation, but on your capacity to persevere when things get tough. It means you won't be held back by the negative voices around you, but instead find the strength to follow your own path. The crucial point is, never give up on yourself, even if no one else does. It's your responsibility to believe in yourself, even if others don't. And that self-trust will carry you through the hardest times. You'll realize you are the only one who can truly decide how far you go. Your choices, your resilience, and your self-belief are what set you apart. It's easy to be strong when everyone supports you, but it's in times of uncertainty and doubt that your true strength emerges. When no one cheers you on, when you walk alone in the dark, you'll see that the only person who can propel you forward is you. So ask yourself, what will you do when no one believes in you? Will you bury your head and give up? Or will you choose to believe in yourself, even when it's hard? Will you keep walking your path, even without support? Because at the end of the day, when you succeed, you won't need the people who helped you. You'll be proud that you reached your goal through your own belief in yourself. Chapter 14. Your word must count, for you first. Most of us care deeply about what others think of us. We often measure our worth by how the world perceives us, and we let the expectations and opinions of those around us guide our actions. We strive to keep our promises to others, to prove ourselves in society's eyes, to honor our commitments, and in many cases, that's admirable. Yet there's a fundamental truth many of us overlook. If your word doesn't count to yourself, it won't truly count to anyone else. What does it mean to be true to yourself? What does it mean to keep your own promises? All too often we live in a world where it's easy to overlook our own needs and desires in order to meet others' expectations. We break our own agreements without even realizing it. We say things we don't mean, postpone our goals, or let our dreams fall by the wayside because external demands grow louder. But this habit is far more destructive than we recognize. Each time you break a promise to yourself, you erode not only your self-trust, but also your inner strength. You chip away at the foundation on which your decisions should rest. Your word must count, and it must count for you first. When you continually chase external validation and abandon your own goals just to please others, you lose something precious: your internal compass. You lose sight of who you really are, of what truly matters to you, of what you genuinely want to achieve. You begin measuring your identity not by your principles, but by others' principles. It's a comfortable trap, one that many of us fall into, especially in a world fueled by social media and constant affirmation. Everyone's waiting to be seen, to be heard, to be liked. And there's nothing wrong with seeking recognition or belonging. But what happens when that recognition becomes the yardstick for your self-worth? What happens when you push your own promises, the ones you make to yourself, ever further into the background? You lose yourself. It's not the world that tells you who you must be. It's you. Your word must become your compass, guiding you through difficult moments. Your word must become a pact with yourself, a pact you never break. Because if you disappoint yourself, you'll learn not to trust yourself. And without self-trust, you'll never find the strength to forge your own path. Maybe now is the moment you realize how often you've sought approval and lost yourself in the process. It's the moment you must tell yourself, enough. I will keep my own promises because I owe it to myself. You owe yourself respect and self-esteem by taking your own goals seriously, by walking your own path, and honoring the pact you've made with yourself. It takes courage to take responsibility for yourself. It takes courage to stand up and say, I will do this for me, not for others. I will live my dreams, not theirs. I will no longer wait for outside validation. I trust my word, my abilities, and my decisions. But the moment you make that choice, when you accept your own word as law, you will feel something incredibly powerful. Freedom. You will feel unshackled from external expectations and finally at home in your own life. Your word must become a promise to yourself, a promise that steadies you each day. Because how often have you told yourself you'd do something and then never followed through? How often have you vowed to change without ever taking action? You disappointed yourself without noticing. And every time you break your word, you drift a little further from who you truly are, from who you could be. But the moment you learn to trust yourself again, you'll see you can achieve anything you set your mind to. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent, true to yourself, even when it's hard. It's about owning your life and knowing you have the power to shape your destiny. Your word must become your shield. It must become the promise that keeps you on the path you choose. The truth is, you're only truly strong when you trust your word. When you keep your own promises, you earn not only others' trust, but most importantly, your own. And from that self-trust grows a power that will carry you through the toughest times. If you want to change something in your life, start with yourself. Keep your word, even when it's inconvenient. Act in line with your principles and convictions, stronger than any external distraction. And you'll find you never have to look back, because you've found the only path that truly matters, your own. It's time to take your word seriously, for you first. Chapter 15. You're not tired. You're disconnected. There are days when you simply feel exhausted. Fatigue runs through your body. Your thoughts feel heavy, and every step seems like a struggle. You glance at the list of things you still need to do and wonder how you can possibly carry on. Maybe you feel you're constantly running but never arriving. You try to make it through the day, but the energy just isn't there. Yet, what if I told you it's not tiredness holding you back? It's disconnection. The disconnection from who you really are, from what really matters to you. In the modern world, we're endlessly distracted, endlessly busy, endlessly doing what pulls us away from our true source of energy. We live in a culture that forces us to do more, achieve more, move faster. But in that whirlwind of obligations and expectations, we lose ourselves. You're not tired. You're disconnected. You're disconnected from what truly fuels you, from what drives you, from what's genuinely important to you. It's easy to be overwhelmed by the external world. We pour so much time and energy into meeting others' demands that we forget what truly nourishes us. We think we're tired because we work too much, because we have too many commitments, because we have to keep everyone else happy. But the real cause of our exhaustion isn't the quantity of what we do. It's the quality of what we do. It's that we've disconnected from the things that really fulfill us, and instead we do things that only drain us. We often neglect the very things that recharge us. Time for ourselves, time for the things we love, and above all, the connection to ourselves. In this frantic life, we've forgotten what it feels like to be connected to our own core. We feel we must constantly perform, but we've drifted away from what truly motivates us. Real energy doesn't come from external praise or from ticking off tasks. It comes from inner clarity, from that bond with our true self. When you feel perpetually tired, ask yourself, how often are you truly with yourself? How often do you take time to sense what you need, what nourishes you, what brings you joy? Fatigue arises when we stray from what defines us. When we focus on things that don't fulfill us, we lose touch with our inner source. Re-establishing that connection doesn't simply mean carving out me time. It means consciously re-examining your priorities and focusing on what truly moves you. It means having the courage to let go of what distracts you, what drains you, what pulls you away from what you really want. It means recognizing that true fulfillment doesn't come from outside, but from within. The energy you need to push on, to grow, to heal, comes from reconnecting with who you really are. Now is the time to ask yourself, what truly nourishes me? What gives me energy? And what saps my strength? The things that leave us most drained aren't always physical tasks, but the mental and emotional burdens we carry when we lose ourselves in the wrong pursuits. We let external expectations and social norms drive us without questioning whether they align with our true direction. We go through the day checking off tasks without pausing to feel what we really want and need. That doesn't mean dropping every responsibility at once, but it does mean starting to value the connection to yourself again. That connection is the source of your real energy. When you know yourself, when you honor and respect yourself, you'll discover your energy springs from within. You'll no longer depend on outside validation to keep moving. Your inner clarity will give you the strength you need to reach your goals without losing yourself. Remember, fatigue isn't caused by doing too much. It's caused by disconnecting from what's truly important to you. When you lose touch with your true self, with what you really want, you grow weary. But when you reconnect, you'll find more energy than you ever thought possible. It's that bond with yourself that gives you the real power to keep going, to grow, and to live. Now is the time to uncover your true source of energy, your connection to yourself. You're not tired. You're disconnected. And the solution lies in reconnecting with what truly matters to you, what nourishes you, what propels you forward. In that space of self-connection, you'll find the real energy that leads you to everything you can achieve. Chapter 16. Your worth is non-negotiable, neither for love nor fear. There are moments in life when you stand before decisions that put your worth, both in the eyes of others and in your own, on the line. You'll be asked if you're willing to bend yourself to please someone, to earn love, to avoid conflict. The world often demands that we sacrifice ourselves for relationships, for love, for belonging. But here lies the dangerous trap. Your worth is not negotiable. It isn't something you can trade for love, nor is it something you should surrender in the face of fear or uncertainty. In a society so dependent on external validation, it's easy to think we must sell ourselves to be loved or accepted. Perhaps you've wondered whether it's worth sacrificing parts of yourself to gain the recognition you crave. Maybe you've already done it, betrayed yourself a little bit to win love, to fit someone else's expectations. But in those moments, you forget that true love never demands anything that would negate who you are. Choosing to negotiate your worth may bring a fleeting sense of security and belonging, but in the long run, you'll find yourself a mere shadow of who you truly are. You'll realize you're no longer acting from the depths of your own identity, but merely adjusting to someone or something that doesn't really know you. Love that forces you into compromises that dilute your identity isn't love. It's a trap that pulls you away from yourself. Staying true to yourself is a challenge, especially when things get hard. When you feel like your only option is to trade away your one remaining asset, your own worth, to meet others' expectations. Yet the moment you give up that worth for anything else, you lose not only yourself, but also the foundation on which genuine connections can be built. True relationships, true love, true belonging, arise only when people respect one another, not merely for what they do, but for who they are at their core. The key to real worth is that it remains independent of external circumstances. Your worth doesn't depend on how highly someone else values you or how well you meet their expectations. It depends on how you see yourself, how you respect yourself, and how you love yourself. Not in a narcissistic sense, but in the knowledge that as a human being, you are valuable just as you are, unconditionally. There are times when you fear showing your true self, afraid of rejection or of not being enough. Maybe it's the fear of losing love or of losing belonging. But in those moments, you can't see that true belonging only arises when you're authentic. True love emerges when you reveal your true self without twisting yourself to please others. If you constantly try to meet external expectations, you'll never find the deep connection you seek, because you've excluded yourself from it. Instead, you must learn to respect yourself and trust that you are enough. You are more than your mistakes, more than your fears, more than the opinions of others. Your worth isn't conditional or negotiable. It's simply a part of you that comes from within. When you recognize and own that worth, you won't care whether others accept you or not, because you know you are good enough exactly as you are. Living in a world that constantly pushes you to change in order to fit a certain mold, it's easy to lose yourself. But the true path to inner peace is knowing you don't have to trade your authenticity for love or approval. You are enough, right now. Your worth doesn't come from what you do for others or what they think of you. It comes from who you really are. Never let the fear of rejection or the urge to be liked lead you to sell yourself short. Genuine connection doesn't come from compromises that force you to deny yourself. It comes from authenticity. It's your willingness to be yourself that allows others to see your full strength and depth. Only when you respect yourself can you find the respect and recognition you deserve. There come moments in life when you're asked what you're willing to do to achieve your goals, or what you're willing to sacrifice to get what you want. But the real question is never what you're willing to give up, but what you're not willing to surrender. If you give up your worth for something else, you lose what makes you unique and strong. Your worth is what carries you, gives you courage to keep going when things get tough, and helps you find true love and deep connections, not just with others but with yourself. Your worth is non-negotiable. You are enough, you are valuable, and you are worthy of respecting yourself. Once you understand that, you'll find that the love and sense of belonging you seek don't have to come from others. They come from within. True worth springs from inside, and no one and nothing can take it from you, as long as you claim it for yourself. Chapter 17. Pain is not avoided. It is used. Pain is a word many of us fear. We see it as the enemy, as something that holds us back, as a burden that drags us down. We do everything to escape it, to avoid it, because we believe it will destroy us or weaken us. But what if I told you that pain is not your enemy? What if the pain you so dread could actually be one of the most powerful forces in your life? Pain isn't here to break you. It's here to strengthen you, if you learn to harness it. We live in a world that teaches us to flee from pain. Pain is viewed as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. We drown it in pills. We distract ourselves. We search for every diversion to escape it. And that's understandable. Pain hurts. But what if pain isn't the end, but the beginning of something else? What if the pain you experience is a signpost guiding you toward a deeper, stronger version of yourself? Pain can teach us so much about who we are if we're willing to face it. Pain reveals what truly matters to us. It shows us what we might lose, what we lack, what really moves us. It forces us to pause, to reflect, and to confront the parts of ourselves we'd rather ignore. It is precisely this pain that leads us to our deepest insights, if we see it not as an enemy, but as a teacher. When pain strikes, you face a choice. You can avoid it, suppress it, pretend it's not there, and it will keep returning. It will haunt you until you're ready to meet it. Or you can embrace the pain, live through it, and see it as an opportunity to grow. The pain won't disappear, but if you learn to use it, it will steer you down a very different path. Imagine no longer treating pain as something to get rid of as quickly as possible. What if you allowed it to shape you, to transform you into a stronger version of yourself? Pain is the forge in which we are tempered. When you embrace it, you'll find it no longer robs you of control. You'll learn to seize control, and the pain will make you more resolute, more determined. Pain holds a deep, unmistakable power. When you confront it, you'll discover it doesn't paralyze you. It propels you to transcend yourself. The real mistake is avoiding pain, fearing it, and hoping it vanishes on its own. Because the very pain you shy away from is the same pain that can lead you to your true potential, if you accept it. It may sound paradoxical, but pain opens doors. If you embrace it, You'll uncover aspects of yourself you never would have known otherwise. Pain forces you to recognize your limits, face your fears, and confront them. You'll learn that you are stronger than you ever imagined, and you'll realize pain is not an insurmountable barrier, but a bridge to your next level of growth. Pain doesn't mean you're lost. It doesn't mean you failed. Pain means you're on the verge of learning something, of transforming, of discovering something new within. It means you're at a turning point. If you allow it, pain can make you a better person, a more powerful version of yourself, someone who understands themselves and knows how to handle challenges without breaking. Of course, there will be times when pain is overwhelming and you wonder how you'll go on. But it's precisely in those darkest moments that you'll realize you still have a choice in how you respond. True courage lies not in avoiding pain, but in enduring it, embracing it, and growing through it. You'll see that you emerge stronger from hardship when you face it with the right attitude. You'll learn that pain isn't your foe, but part of the process that shapes you into who you're meant to be. There is nothing that can truly break you unless you give up. No experience, no defeat, no disappointment can hold you back permanently if you accept it as part of your growth. When you learn to use pain, you'll find it opens the door to a life of strength, wisdom, and inner freedom. Pain will always be part of life, but it doesn't have to control you. You can learn to use it to grow, to evolve, to become the best version of yourself. And the moment you stop fearing pain and accept it as a source of power, you'll find you don't just overcome it, you become stronger than ever before. Chapter 18. Patience is not waiting. It is persisting without lying to yourself. Patience is often misunderstood. We think it's simply a matter of waiting, of being passive, of just holding on until things sort themselves out. But patience is much more than the ability to sit quietly and hope life eventually takes its course. True patience is the art of moving forward with determination and clarity, even when you haven't yet seen the results you're hoping for. It's not about seeking instant gratification, but about being willing to act continuously, even when success feels distant. There are moments in life when you wonder if it's even worth going on. You've given everything, taken every step you believed right, and yet the outcome remains elusive. You feel disappointed, frustrated, and the thought of just giving up keeps creeping in. In those moments, we must remember that patience doesn't mean burying your head in the sand, but rising again and continuing on. Patience is an active state, not a passive one. It's not about merely waiting, but about staying consistent and focused, even when you see no proof of progress. Patience is trusting the process, even when it moves slower than expected, and knowing that every step you take brings you closer to your goal, even if you can't see it yet. It's a hard lesson many of us must learn, especially in a world that pushes us to see results quickly. We live in a culture of instant gratification, used to getting things with the click of a button, receiving immediate answers, and experiencing success in minutes. But life doesn't always work that way, and true success often demands far more patience, perseverance, and persistence. Patience means accepting the reality of slow growth and not losing hope just because you can't immediately see what you wish to see. But what does that really mean for you? What does it mean to be patient without deceiving yourself? It means you mustn't stop improving and moving forward just because you haven't yet seen the desired results. It means taking responsibility for continuing to do your best, even if the reward isn't yet visible. It means refusing to get tangled in excuses or self-pity, and instead pressing on with clarity and purpose. Patience is not the state of waiting for something while letting distractions carry you away. It's the active commitment to work with a clear vision, to act, and to never lose faith in your goal, even when the path seems arduous. It's the moment you remind yourself of the promise you made, and without detours, keep doing what's necessary to reach your goal. In those tough stretches of waiting, when success feels almost out of reach, lies the true meaning of patience. It's about asking yourself, what can I do today to get closer to my goal? Patience doesn't just mean waiting. It means deciding to do whatever is within your power today to move things forward, even when you don't see immediate results. And that's what makes patience so powerful. It's not the passive stance of waiting, but the active choice to stay on course, even when no reward is yet in sight. You mustn't let disappointment paralyze you. You must accept it as part of the process. Every setback, every phase of nothing happening is just a part of the journey. These phases are what make you stronger and more resilient. Patience challenges you to recognize your own limits and overcome your fears. If you have the determination and patience to keep going in tough times, you'll find yourself becoming a new version of yourself. You'll realize it's not the instant reward that defines you, but the ability to keep going even when you can't see progress in the moment. True patience doesn't mean you stand still. It means you persist. It's the moment you commit to moving forward, without letting the absence of immediate results distract you. It means understanding that the path to self-fulfillment is a continuous one, with no shortcuts, built instead on small daily efforts. The art of patience is having faith in the process without losing yourself in excuses. It means accepting that success is not always linear, that progress is sometimes invisible, and that even if the journey feels long and grueling, you're still on the right path. It's the courage to take one more step each day, even when the reward isn't yet visible. It's easy in today's world to think patience means simply waiting for something. But patience is more than that. It's faith in the process, trust in your own abilities, and the decision to never give up. Not because you have no doubts, but because you have the consistency to keep going no matter how hard it gets. Patience is not the absence of doubt, but the resolve to keep moving despite doubt. And that very courage will lead you to where you want to go. Chapter 19. You don't need confidence. You need courage. There's a widespread notion that self-confidence is the key to everything, that you can only succeed, be brave, or be capable if you believe in yourself. We've become accustomed to calling confidence the foundation of all achievement. You must trust in yourself, and then you can accomplish whatever you set your mind to. But what if I told you that it's not confidence you truly need? What if the real key to success and overcoming your fears isn't confidence, but courage? The truth is, you won't always feel confident, especially at the start of a new project, a fresh challenge, or when stepping into unknown territory. You will repeatedly encounter moments of doubt, moments when uncertainty swells and you wonder if you can really pull it off. You cannot expect confidence to be there from the outset. What you can do, however, is find the courage to move forward despite your doubts. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. If you wait until you're 100% sure, you'll never make real progress. The right moment to act doesn't always arrive when you believe you're perfectly prepared or fully confident in your abilities. Sometimes it comes simply when you take the first step, even though you don't know how the rest of the path will unfold. It's easy to buy into the idea that you need confidence to move forward, that you have to feel secure before trying something new. But that expectation only stops you from taking action. True progress doesn't come from merely trusting in your abilities. It comes from the courage to prove to yourself you can succeed even without complete certainty. Think of all the times you felt insecure, held back from taking the next step because you were waiting for a kind of assurance that never came. You waited for confidence, waiting to feel safe, to have validation that everything would turn out all right. But confidence is a result. It arises when you've already set yourself in motion, when you've given yourself proof that you can do it without having all the answers. Courage is the beginning of confidence. It's the decision to act before you have definitive proof you'll succeed. The courage to do something even when you don't know how it will turn out is the first step toward building trust in yourself. And the amazing thing is that through those actions, through the courage to keep going when you're unsure, you gain more and more confidence. Many people have it backwards. They believe confidence is a prerequisite for success. They think they have to first believe they can do something, then do it. But in reality, it's the other way around. You do it in order to believe. You act in order to develop confidence. You take the first step even when you doubt yourself, and in the process you discover you are capable, that you grow, that you become stronger. With each step, your confidence grows. But the first step requires you to muster the courage to jump in, even if you don't know what to expect. We all have fears, doubts, and uncertainties that try to hold us back. But what truly propels us forward is not the absence of those fears, but our ability to act anyway. Courage means acknowledging the fear and moving forward anyway. Courage means you don't wait for everything to line up perfectly. You decide to act despite the uncertainty. And through that act, you will find yourself trusting yourself more and more. The key is not to wait for the perfect feeling of confidence, but to find the courage to act even when confidence is absent. You'll never be 100% certain you can do it, but you can be 100% certain you won't succeed if you never summon the courage to try in the first place. You must learn that the path to confidence runs through courage, and that courage is the true fuel that drives you forward when you don't yet know what lies ahead. You don't always need confidence. You need the courage to act even when there are no guarantees of success. The real secret of success is not waiting for confidence, but growing the courage to act despite uncertainty. You have to show yourself you can do it, even when you're not sure you can. It's like learning to ride a bike for the first time. You didn't have full faith you wouldn't fall, but you had the courage to try anyway. And with each attempt, you gained confidence until you could ride without a second thought. The same process applies to everything you want to achieve in life. You don't wait for confidence. You simply have the courage to try. In your toughest moments, when you don't know where to go next and doubts arise, remember, it's not confidence that moves you forward. It's courage to press on, even when you feel insecure. Confidence will come in time, but only if you're willing to take that first step. Chapter 20. Winning doesn't mean having it all. It means owing nothing. In a world that constantly pushes us to achieve more, to own more, to do more, the notion of winning is often misunderstood. Many of us equate victory with possessing everything: the perfect life, the perfect house, the perfect car, the perfect job. We chase a state in which we believe that acquiring all these things will deliver the ultimate win. But what if I told you that true victory isn't about having it all, but about owing nothing? Imagine for a moment that you reach a point in life where you don't have to prove anything else. You find inner peace in knowing you owe nothing, to no one, to nothing. You carry no obligations to others' expectations, no burdens from past choices, and no fear of what's to come. This state of freedom is the real win. Because in truth, it's the very attempt to have and control everything that traps us. We think success lies in owning every material possession, every social accolade, every accomplishment. Yet once we attain those things, we often discover that what we really sought was something entirely different. True victory doesn't come from reaching external goals. It comes from the freedom of owing nothing that weighs you down. It's easy to be deceived by the belief that success means holding everything in your grasp. But what happens when you try to control everything? You'll find yourself tangled in the chains of obligations and expectations. You'll wonder whether you're truly the one pursuing these goals or merely following the script written by others. It's the belief that you must have it all that keeps you from the freedom of the true win. Winning doesn't mean letting the world's demands run your life. It means having the courage to let go of the pressure to achieve more, to own more, to do more. It means freeing yourself from the things you've accumulated, whether material possessions, toxic relationships, or self-imposed expectations. True freedom emerges when you realize you no longer have to prove anything. Imagine never again comparing yourself to anyone else. Imagine setting your own standards without being influenced by society's or other people's ideas. That is the real win. The moment you feel complete within yourself, no longer needing external proof of your worth. There's a deep inner peace that arrives when you stop longing for more. This peace isn't born of acquiring things or chasing the next big achievement, but of releasing the notion that you must accomplish something to be valuable. The true win is the moment you stop owing anything, to others or to yourself. This doesn't mean you must abandon goals or the pursuit of growth. On the contrary, you should continue seeking fulfillment and progress, but without the burden of, "I have to," and without the conviction that you're only successful if you achieve everything. True freedom comes when you understand you don't have to define yourself by external validation or possessions. The real win comes when you're enough for yourself, when you stop viewing your life as a checklist of achievements or obligations. It means recognizing you don't have to carry an ever-growing list of duties and expectations. You are free, you are enough, and you owe nothing more to anyone. There is a moment in life when you must let go of everything to truly win. That moment is the real victory, the instant you realize you owe nothing, to yourself or to others. It marks the beginning of a journey to genuine freedom, true success, and deeper fulfillment. When you understand you don't need to own or control everything to win, you'll discover an inner peace you never dreamt possible. You'll realize it's not about having it all, but about breaking free from the shackles of obligation and expectation. You'll understand that you truly win only when you stop forcing yourself to keep reaching and acquiring. The greatest win in life isn't having everything. It's knowing you owe nothing. You are enough just as you are. And in that moment of release, you'll find true freedom and real success. Not in external things, but in your own inner peace. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this audiobook. I hope the words and ideas you've heard have inspired you and given you something to ponder. Remember, the true path to your success lies in your own decisions. If you enjoyed this book, I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more inspiring content. Stay tuned, stay brave, and walk your path. You have everything you need to win.